has landed herself a new, very high-profile position, and I've been wondering when this was going to happen. I knew at some point, somewhere, with some miscellaneous media outlet, Caitlin Clark would get a gig, and now we know where that gig's going to be, when that gig's going to be, and who that gig's going to be.
Caitlin Clark just secured a role that absolutely nobody saw coming. Not ESPN, not Turner, NBC Sports, and not just anywhere on their flagship basketball program. The timing of this move says everything about where the real power in women's basketball sits right now. While the WNBA Players Association is floating the possibility of a 2026 season shut down over CBA negotiations, the league's biggest star is already locked in a deal that carries her straight into the offseason. No gaps, no pauses, and zero slowdown in her brand momentum.
You know, I don't know how much. There's no CBA right now. And this, of course, would run through, at least May, in theory. I don't know. We don't have any dates that stretch that far yet. I still think they're going to get the CBA.
February 1st. That's the date Caitlin Clark makes her debut as an NBC sports analyst, right before Lakers versus Knicks tips off at Madison Square Garden. Then she's back again on March 9th for Thunder versus Knicks, two of the most high-profile NBA matchups you can put on national television. And think about this. NBC is placing a WNBA player who has never done TV analysis before on the desk.
There is a new CBA agreed upon. Before then, again, I've told you guys, I've got the over-under on February 15th. I just have a feeling. That's just my gut feeling that when push comes to shove, again, I believe a lot of players.
Here's what makes this whole situation so fascinating. The WNBA's collective bargaining agreement expires in October 2025, and players are already openly discussing a potential sit-out if their demands aren't met. But Caitlin Clark just locked an income that stretches all the way through May 2026. Whether the WNBA season happens or not, she's covered. She has USA basketball commitments in March for World Cup qualifiers. She has her NBC Sports role running through the spring. And with every move, she's building leverage.
On the line, we want to sign the deal. But that long wait doesn't mean Caitlin Clark has been away from the game. In fact, she notably suited up for USA basketball training camp in December, has expressed her dedication for participating in all-team USA events with FIBA World Cup looming in September and qualifiers taking place in March. So she has and will get the needed reps before finally taking the floor again with the Fever. In the meantime, she will be keeping busy.
NBC didn't hire her just to talk basketball. They hired her because she moves the needle. Sunday Night Football is their crown jewel, and Football Night in America is the pre-game show that sets the tone. Now, NBC is applying that same proven formula to launch Basketball Night in America, and they're doing it by placing Caitlin Clark alongside Maria Taylor, Carmelo Anthony, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, and Reggie Miller. That's not roster padding. That's putting her name next to legends because they genuinely believe she belongs in that space.
Wow. So this would be akin to, they have Sunday Night Football, and it starts with a pregame show called Football Night in America. I didn't know they were creating Basketball Night in America, but here we are.
Think about what NBC is really buying here. They've locked up NBA broadcasting rights starting with the 2025 to 26 season. They're already airing WNBA games. And now the one player who can bridge both audiences is officially part of their network. Caitlin Clark can pull casual fans into women's basketball and bring women's basketball fans straight into NBA coverage. This move isn't just about her elite basketball IQ, though that's undeniable. It's about her rare ability to make people care.
Despite his limited role, simply having Jordan as part of the coverage created buzz. NBC is surely hoping Caitlin Clark's involvement will do the same. Of course, Caitlin Clark is expected to offer unique insights in assuming the analyst role for the first time, and her basketball IQ cannot be questioned. So the transition will be a seamless one for the Indiana Fever's star point guard. NBC will also have WNBA coverage for the upcoming 2026 season, so Caitlin Clark will surely appear.
Sam Flood, NBC's executive producer, called her one of the most captivating players and dynamic scorers in basketball. Not women's basketball, period. And that wording matters. It signals exactly how NBC plans to position her. She's not being framed as a novelty or a diversity hire, but as someone who understands the game at the highest level and can communicate that understanding to viewers. But this is where things get complicated. Caitlin Clark's injury ended her 2025 season in July, and the 2026 WNBA...
Over here, this is the official from NBC Sports, the press release. And it basically does say the same thing. However, Caitlin Clark is going to join the studio team of Maria Taylor. She also hosts Football Night in America with Chris Sims and Mike Florio, Rodney Harrison, Tony Dungy, and Jason Garrett. Carmelo Anthony, Vince Carter, and Tracy McGrady for pregame commentary.
The upcoming CBA negotiations are set to be brutal. Players are pushing for higher salaries, better travel conditions, expanded rosters, and a larger share revenue, while owners will likely point to attendance and TV ratings, arguing that much of the growth revolves around a handful of stars. Caitlin Clark being Exhibit A. The Indiana Fever went from an afterthought to must-see television in just one season because of her. NBC knows it, ESPN knows it, and every...
That's very interesting. By the way, you can watch these online at Peacock, on the Peacock app, which is NBC's official app out there, and I've got it because, well, there's some decent stuff on Peacock. There's movies, there's a couple of old series I watch on there, and WWE Saturday Night Main Event is on there.
Now, consider what this means for her position during CBA negotiations. The WNBA Players Association needs a united front to gain leverage against the owners. But Caitlin Clark has just shown that she has options that don't depend on the WNBA season even happening. She can earn through media, USA Basketball, and endorsements if the Players Union decides to hold out for a better deal. She isn't under the same financial pressure most players face. That doesn't mean she'll cross a picket line or undermine the union, but it does shift her incentives. She's already secured generational wealth through her Nike deal, gained mainstream visibility beyond the WNBA, and now has a media career launching while she's still in her early 20s. The real question is, how hard is she willing to fight for CBA improvements that primarily benefit the middle and lower tiers of WNBA rosters when she's already operating in a completely different economic reality?
This is interesting. You notice ESPN did not jump in. You know, I don't see anything from USA Network on here. I mean, pretty safe to say they wasn't going to put her on a panel with Elle Duncan, I wouldn't think. Who knows? I mean, you never know with media outlets.
Here's what NBC is really doing with this hire. They're creating content insurance. If the WNBA season is delayed or canceled due to CBA negotiations, they still have Caitlin Clark on their basketball programming discussing the NBA. If the season happens as planned, they already have the league's biggest star embedded in their broadcast infrastructure, giving them leverage when negotiating her involvement in WNBA coverage. And if she proves to be a natural on camera, which seems likely given her poise under pressure, they've essentially developed a media personality capable of carrying programming for the next 2 decades. The comparison to Michael Jordan is interesting. When NBC brought Jordan into coverage, it was largely symbolic. He didn't provide deep analysis or regular appearances, but created buzz and credibility. Clark, however, is positioned differently. She has scheduled appearances tied to specific games, joins an established panel of analysts providing real insight, and is doing all this while still an active player, offering a perspective retired players can't. That also puts enormous pressure on her. She'll analyze NBA stars at the peak of their profession while building her own career. Insightful commentary reinforces that women's basketball players understand the game at an elite level. Generic or obvious takes risk reinforcing stereotypes about women's sports analysis. There's no neutral outcome. Every appearance will be scrutinized.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.
Here's the big picture. NBC didn't just hire Caitlin Clark to talk basketball. They're betting on her star power, her perspective, and her ability to keep fans engaged across leagues. ESPN, Turner, USA Network. They didn't make this move. NBC did, giving her ownership of a brand new platform with Basketball Night in America and access to Peacock's streaming audience. She's still an active player, analyzing NBA games alongside legends like Carmelo Anthony and Vince Carter, which creates pressure but also a unique perspective retired players can't match. This hire protects NBC if the WNBA season is delayed, extends Clark's visibility, and positions her as a bridge between men's and women's basketball audiences. February 1st, Lakers versus Knicks at Madison Square Garden is the test. Will she bring her authentic insight, challenge conventional wisdom, and prove that women's basketball stars can dominate media while still playing? If she does, this deal could launch a decade-long media career and change the way the WNBA leverages its biggest stars. If not, it's a cautionary tale. Either way, it's must-watch television, and everyone will be watching.